there was a drop. I think there was a drop off, so the call ended. But we're adding everyone back.
I think the recording has started.
Thank you.
Can you still hear me?
Can hear you clearly.
Fantastic, thank you. Please let me share my slides. Please, can you confirm that you can see the slides?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Dr. Atieme, for coordinating this. I want to start by thanking all the distinguished professors, special guests, researchers, scholars, academics, and of course, ladies and gentlemen joining us today in this epoch-making event, which is launching of DAPresses academic publishing platform. My name is Chukwuma Ogbonnaya, and I am the program leader of engineering management at Wolfson School, Loughborough University, UK. I'm also privileged to chair the joint editorial board of DAPresses, and I want to present this small talk to put things in perspective. And I've titled my brief talk, Research, Innovation, and Commercialization of Innovation. And in the course of preparing this small talk, the question that kept popping up in my mind was, where is Africa? Now, my hypothesis is that societal impact correlates with practices in research, innovation, and commercialization of innovation ecosystem in any country. I will remind us of the impact of Egypt's civilization, the Roman Empire, the British Empire, and currently we have United States and China that is at the top of the echelon in terms of societal impact. And those impacts will be traceable to their expeditions within the space of research, innovation, and commercialization of innovation. On the other hand, when you look at low-income countries and minority states, including Africa, you will agree with me that there is low content of research, innovation, and commercialization of innovations within those states. This morning, what I want to show is that nations can thrive through innovation, research, and ultimate commercialization of research findings. And I want to show how DAPresses will be a catalyst within that ecosystem. Let's start with Nature Index. If you look at Nature Index reports ranging from 2022 to 2023, we can see that China is leading. And I want to draw your attention to the fact that between 2022 and 2023, China increased their research output by 16.6%. India increased theirs by 16.3%. Although Japan and Korea increased marginally, we can see clearly that some countries like United States, Germany, UK, and France, Canada, of course, they declined. So these data I'm showing you are important, and you can see how I'm going to build a case or make deductions and inferences based on the data I'm showing you. If we look at another source, Schemago, which is published by Elsevier, Scopus, we can see that United States is at the top. And of course, this consider the historical impact of research, innovation, and commercialization of research, including citations and documents produced within the research ecosystem. So United States, because of that legacy innovation ecosystem they have, is ranking first. China is following. We can see United Kingdom, Germany, Japan, India, and others. And if we look at the World Intellectual Property Organization indicator based on the number of patents that have been filed in 2023, and this was reported in 2024, we can begin to see that there is a correlation between research intensivity and the number of patents that can be filed by a country. Here, China is leading. China filed 1.64 million patents in 2023, followed by United States that filed 518,364 patents. But we need to also take notice that those countries that appear top in the research ecosystem are also appearing here. For instance, Japan is still here, South Korea is still here, Germany is still here, and India is still here. So if we also look at the World Intellectual Property Global Innovation Index indicators, although Singapore is doing very, very well currently, my interest is to show that United States is still here, China is still here, Japan is still here, and Korea is still here. And we know that these measures both the inputs and outputs within the research ecosystem. Now, if we look at the International Monetary Fund research, which shows the nominal gross domestic product of countries across the globe, you can see again that United States is ranking first, followed by China, Germany, Japan, UK, India. Again, these countries appeared on the list of countries that are deepening and expanding and reinforcing their research, innovation, and commercialization ecosystems. Of course, we can deduce that conducting research helps us to make discoveries, and those discoveries can lead to innovation of new products and services. And when those products and services are commercialized, it creates value, it improves standard of living, and it improves the GDP of the country. Of course, if you look at the global power and influences across the globe, it is, looking at it from the spectrum of the military capability, economic power, technology and innovation, diplomatic influence, the nuclear capabilities of different countries, soft power and culture, and also partnership and alliances across the globe, you will see that what people or what countries bring to the table is an output from their research, innovation, and commercialization of research and innovation ecosystem. So they use it to form new partnerships and alliances. And you can see again, if that is the case, the United States is ranking first, China, of course, Russia, UK, and other countries. Again, my interest is to see how from the beginning, research in intensive countries are ranking almost top in all these indicators. Germany is still there, India is still there, Japan is still there, and of course, United Kingdom. And we know that one of the effective ways of practicing science is publishing findings from research so that others can build on the knowledge of our predecessors. We still talk about Newton, we still talk about Aristotle, Socrates, we talk about Einstein, we talk about a lot of Chikobi, the great mathematicians from Nigeria. We talk about these people because human beings devised a way to curate knowledge through publishing. And top on that list is Xavier, Springer, Wiley, Taylor and Francis, MDPI, and other publishing companies. Again, you can see that these countries that are ranking top, they have a way of disseminating the knowledge they create within their society so that it can drive innovation and commercialization of innovation. So I can make deduction that China, US, Germany, UK, Japan, and all these countries that they keep reappearing like recurring decimals from research leadership to the outputs of publications to filing of intellectual property to their global innovation index to their economic indicator using GDP to their power and influence across the globe. And if you flip it, which is where I ask myself, where is Africa? You can see that African countries and other low-income countries and minority states have not started developing the research ecosystems that can help them to innovate and create products and services that will translate into improving their GDP and standard of living in those countries. Of course, there are other indicators that we can factor in when we look at the broader picture. If we look at the context I've created, we can see that there are challenges in research, innovation, and commercialization ecosystems in Africa and other low-income countries and minority states. Some of those challenges could be lack of priority on intensive research universities, which is a factor of developing the educational system to be able to facilitate research, innovation, and commercialization of innovations. Also, lack of commitment to pragmatic policies, funding mechanisms, and infrastructures, both digital and physical, that will drive human capacity developments and retain them to continue to reinforce the outputs and impacts of research, innovation, and commercialization of innovation. So there is also lack of personal income and lack of commitment by government and funders to support publishing articles in open access, because there is a charge to publish in open access. And also, there is also charge to subscribe to subscription journals. So all of them borders on how people access knowledge across the globe. So there's also lack of incentives to translate research and innovation into commercial goods and services, which is actually what drives the GDP of any country. So a typical example is how nations create their innovation ecosystem and link it up to the small and medium enterprises that will take up those ideas and convert them into products and services. So there's also lack of support in some countries in training doctoral researchers and early career researchers on how to write good articles, quality articles that can be accepted by publishers. So this is a case study using myself as the case. I want to appreciate Petroleum Technology Development Fund Nigeria, PTDF Nigeria, for funding my PhD at the University of Manchester, UK. I published 10 articles from my PhD. And while I was preparing this, I asked myself, how much would it have cost me to publish those 10 articles if I was charged? Thankfully, I was not charged. I didn't pay any money. But if you look at the table, you could see the Naira equivalent of the article processing charges by these journals. And if you calculate it using the prevailing rate today, you can see that it would have cost me about 47 million Naira approximately to publish those 10 articles. And in dollar equivalent, it would have cost me about $33,791. You can see that it's very, very challenging to ask many researchers, scholars, academics in Africa to pay this type of money to publish their research findings and results. And here is where DAPresses or Dialogic Academic Presses comes in. We understand as a publisher that knowledge creation has to pass through the process of research, publishing the output from research so that it drive innovation, so that it can be converted to product and services through commercialization, so that the society will become a better place. And that's what has been happening in our world. So DAPresses intends to publish open access journals, which means that the readers across the globe will not pay to read. Okay? Also, to reduce the financial barriers to authors, researchers, scholars, so that they can publish their fantastic results and findings, so that others can learn from it, leverage the results they've produced to also conduct more research to make the world a better place. So we are also interested in catalyzing institutional change in the rice ecosystem and facilitate international partnership and collaborations, building capacities of doctoral researchers, early career researchers, so that they can write up those research they are conducting to make their own contribution. So if we look at my proposal of this research ecosystem, you will see that this conceptual framework means that solving this problem is not linear. It is rather a complex system which has interrelationship with different sectors within the country and outside the country. So the first thing that has to be done is to create enabling environment. And that enabling environment includes policies and regulations within of research, the funding mechanisms, the investment, the intensive research, universities and retaining talent to do those research, the protection of intellectual property, the creation of digital and physical infrastructures to conduct the research, standards and global linkages, creating that research culture where government take decisions based on evidence produced from research. And of course, this enabling environment will motivate the creators of knowledge in the research universities, institutes, and laboratories to create those research and drive innovation and commercialization, which ultimately will be how jobs will be created and life will be improved. So to do this, there is a need for all the stakeholders to collaborate and partner at different interfaces so that this can be done in an efficient and effective way that will benefit everybody across the globe, not just the local researchers that are conducting the research. So Dialogic Academic Presses has 2 journals. Those journals are interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, and multidisciplinary in nature. So what that means is that if you have any output that is related to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, you can submit it to Dialogic STEM Journal. If you have work that is related to economy, governance, institutions, management, policy, arts and humanities, social sciences, you can submit the manuscript to Dialogic Society Journal. Of course, you can visit the website DAPresses.com to get more information. Now, I know that the board, editorial boards, promise that they will give you a code that you can use to get a full waiver if you submit your article within August. So this is the voucher. You can copy it. You can also write I think that you can just copy it now. I will pause a moment so that you can copy the code. The code will also be provided towards the end of this for those who will come later. If you want to use this, you can just go straight to the DAPresses manuscript management system and upload your articles and submit it. It will pass through peer review. All articles on this platform must be recommended by minimum of 2 experts in the field, and they have to give a positive recommendation that it should be published before it is accepted and published, because the priority of DAPresses is to maintain an international standard such that people can go to the platform and read quality articles. So you can contact editorial at DAPresses.com for more information or to ask questions. There is also another opportunity that one can explore within DAPresses. DAPresses is built on the philosophy of advancing UNESCO recommendations on open science as a pathway of achieving United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So what that means is DAPresses promotes all the open formats or open initiatives that can drive research, innovation, and commercialization of innovation. So if you go to the website, you can visit a session titled Dialogic Open Research and Innovation Fund. So Dialogic Solutions Ltd, the parent company of this publishing division, has set out some initiative to provide support to scholars, innovators to drive these ideas. A typical example is open research. Last week, Dialogic concluded a Design and Make challenge where students across Africa took up initiatives, started from conceptual design, engineering design to prototyping, and Dialogic supported that with other sponsors. So that kind of research, if you go to the website, you can have ideas that you can take and solve problems within your local areas. So open publishing, that's where waivers, both partial and full waivers, are given to authors to publish their work so that people will know about what they are doing and also benefit from their effort. Open partnerships, open ideas, open conference, open dialogic dialogue. These are platforms where ideas are shared so that others can learn and also contribute. There are opportunities to be part of the editorial board of either of the journals, and you will influence the quality of research output published in your field, because you will be able to make input as an editor or as a peer reviewer. And also, if you want to launch a special issue in your field, or you want to advance knowledge in certain area, you can create it as a special issue, and people will submit journals to that special issue, and you will review it. And if you accept it, it will go for peer review. If it is accepted, it will now be published under your special issue. And you can form a special issue with other colleagues across the globe. Somebody from South Africa can combine with somebody from United States, and they can create a special issue. And that's the beautiful thing about DAPresses, that it is international, and people across the globe will partner to create knowledge. Existing special issues you can find on the website include decolonizing African institutions, sports economy, research innovations and commercialization strategies, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, and multidisciplinary pathways to achieving sustainable development goals by 2030, and artificial intelligence implementation strategies for developing countries. These are special issues, and if you have any manuscript that is related to any of these, it can be published. The benefit of special issue is that it's a special collection, and people looking for knowledge in a niche area can go to this special issue, which means that your manuscript will be more visible, because there are you don't have much articles published under the special issue. So it's a specialized collection. And you can do that for Dialogic STEM Journal and Dialogic Society Journal. As an example, this is an upcoming Green STEM Symposium. Dialogic Academic Press is supporting them to in a way that articles accepted and presented at a conference, at a symposium, can then be reviewed and improved and submitted for publication on Dialogic STEM Journal. Okay, you can do this as a faculty or university or organizations. Once you have research outputs that is peer reviewed, you can compile it and you can publish it. It makes it visible across the globe. Anybody across the globe can read it. And there is something I discovered recently. I searched one of the articles I published on DAPresses, and that was Secular Research and Teaching Framework. I was so surprised that Google Gemini, integrated that article with other articles and linked it. And I started prompting my way forward to the extent that I learned more things about the subject. So I'm saying something very, very foundational here. What I'm trying to say is that the knowledge that is discoverable as we progress towards implementation of artificial intelligence are knowledge that is on the internet. So if nations like countries in Africa and other minority states do not contribute to research, AI will not know who contributes. So what influences knowledge will then be what is available. And this is the incentive that should drive different countries to begin to contribute to knowledge, so that when solutions are profiled by some of these AIs that do not know who is who, the context of that country can be considered by AI. So it is very, very fundamental, and it is something that different countries should think about, how they should start positioning their research, innovation, and commercialization ecosystems, so that solutions can also be tailored to them. Now, I want to summarize, because I say this is going to be a brief talk. In summary, we can see to some extent that there is a strong link between research, innovation, and commercialization of innovation and the growth of GDP, power, and influence of any country. So I think that for any nation to be influential, contribute to developing our world, they need to start from conducting research. That's the starting point, because that's where we use a systematic approach to propose knowledge, new knowledge, examine it critically, and then include it in the body of knowledge, which is how human beings increase their collective intelligence to solve problems in this world. And of course, we are even going to Mars and Moon and other universe. Some people argue we have multiverse. So it is important that we understand the primacy of research, and there must be an enabling environment intentionally created to drive these research activities, innovation activities, and commercialization activities for us to create social impact and positive outcomes for any nation. So open access publishing platform, which Dialogic Solutions Ltd promotes, enables global dissemination of knowledge from research outputs and free access to all without restriction. Okay, so this is a game changer where you can download full articles online without paying any money. So low-income countries and minority states must prioritize investment in rice and tackle sustainable development goal from the perspective of research. So if we think about gender equality, clean energy, responsible consumption, partnerships, if we look at it from the perspective of research, we can generate action plans that can be implemented to create impact in the society. So Dialogic Solutions Limited is very committed to UNESCO recommendation on open science, and we will look forward to partnering with everybody in this ecosystem. You have something to contribute as an author, as a reviewer, as an editor, to create an ecosystem where knowledge can be co-created. And I want to say something before I end. I think that I'm a better researcher today, not because of solely what my supervisor did for me. I think that I'm a better researcher today because of what reviewers that I will never know did for me. So by providing constructive feedback to other researchers, you are improving the work of others and helping them to develop, and also increasing the value of knowledge we have access to as a global community. So with this, I want to say a very thank you to you for listening to me, and I look forward to partnering and engaging with everyone. Thank you very much. I yield back to you, Dr. Atieme.
Thank you, Dr. Ogbonnaya. I think that's an incredible presentation. I think you did say quite a lot, but one of the things that stuck with me is the huge amount of forms that were required to publish the 10 papers that you had to dole out from your PhD. It just shows how much we have to do in Africa to bridge that gap, because publishing good research is very, very important, and of course it costs a lot. And I think that's where DAPresses comes in. Without spending much time, thank you so much, Dr. Ogbonnaya. I really, really appreciate that. I think in our lineup, the next person is Professor Fatima Mukhtar from Asman University, and she'll be giving a keynote speech as well. If you just give me a second, and we can project this slide. But before then, Prof, can you
Yes.
just say hi, so we are sure that
Hi.
okay,
Hello
good,
to you all.
brilliant. So I'll just share your presentation, and then we can make a start from there.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So can I go on?
Yes, you may.
All
You may
right.
please start. Of
All
course,
right.
I will try to be moving to the next slide. So if you can prompt me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, I will do that. Distinguished chair of the session, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I would like to appreciate the organizers for inviting me to make a presentation at this memorable historical event. It is indeed an honor and a privilege, and especially to speak on a subject matter which I believe lies at the heart of Africa's future. So the next slide, we are all aware that globally, not only in Africa, um, universities are producing new knowledge every day. And researchers in Africa are also investigating pertinent issues uh, with regards to climate change, food security, healthcare, artificial intelligence, renewable energy, education, biodiversity, and so on. But the questions I ask is, how much of this knowledge reaches those who can use it to transform lives? And how much of this knowledge or these researches that are being done are indigenous, that is, affect the challenges being faced by African continent? So the title is apt, Reimagining Academic Publishing, but then I suggest that academic publishing should not be an endpoint of research, but it should serve as a bridge between discovery and development. And we must ensure that African knowledge is visible. And I believe Dialogic is there to serve this purpose. So next, around the world, we all know, I'm sure many of the participants of this program are academics. And we can move to next slide, please. So we know that universities celebrate publications. They count how many publications one has, citations, journal rankings, and research metrics. I know definitely these are indicators of academic excellence, but should publication be the purpose of research, the only purpose of research? I believe that there are many breakthroughs. For example, if you cite an example, maybe drought-resistant crops, uh, there's a breakthrough in that, and then an article is published in, a very good journal, but then it doesn't reach the farmers. So it remains scholarly, but of limited value to society. The same thing if you have researches in health and so on that remain in the journal. So it is important to move from a culture of publishing for promotion to publishing for transformation. And once that is embedded in our minds, we know that you are conducting research to transform and not to just acquire promotion, which is what is being done now. So next, Africa has a lot of assets, including its young population, while other continents are, crying out for zero population growth and so on. Africa's, youth are many, and they are still in the productive stage. So it has a very young population who are very intelligent, and the number of universities as a result, is expanding. And now with digital connectivity, there is a lot of information going around. So, but then with all this, it is important that indigenous knowledge is also, investigated and published, so that we are not just promoting or trying to investigate challenges in other parts of the world and, applying it to our own local, communities. But we are also investigating the problems, the challenges that abide in Africa, and coming up with solutions such that the information that is obtained from African indigenous knowledge, would be published, and the knowledge will be applied effectively. So academic publishing is therefore not simply an academic activity. It should be a strategic investment in Africa's future. And academic publishing performs several interconnected functions. It communicates research findings, subjects them to peer review, and enables other scholars to also build upon existing knowledge. It also establishes the credibility of researchers and institutions, and it strengthens collaboration and contributes to the global body of scientific evidence. So for universities, publishing enhances reputation, it supports accreditation, it improves rankings, and attracts funding. For government, it provides the evidence needed to design effective policies. While for industry, it creates opportunities for innovation and technology transfer. And for the society, it offers solutions to real-world challenges. So if we view publication through this broader lens, we see that it becomes much more than an academic exercise. It is a strategic instrument for national development and sustainable progress. However, despite the fact that, Africa represents a significant, population in globally, you still find that its research contribution or scholarly publications remains relatively small. So research, and you find that research output is concentrated in a limited number of countries and institutions. So we need to do more. And of course, there are many challenges that, restrain institutions or researchers from attaining this. So thank God the landscape is changing with people like you who have thought of coming together to establish these journals uh, because of the scholarship that you obtain, so you are giving back to the society. Uh, then, there is investment in postgraduate education, what TED Fund and PTDF and NITDA to some extent in Nigeria are doing, and I'm sure in other countries in Africa also there are similar such opportunities. So there is increase in research networks, digital infrastructure, which is creating more opportunities. International collaborations are increasing, and so on. And the African scholars are able to contribute to high quality journals. The key challenge, however, is not simply to increase the number of publications, but to ensure that research is carried out, address Africa's priorities. It reaches the right audiences and contributes meaningfully to development. So much of the evidence used in policy making across Africa originates from research is conducted in very different social, economic, and environmental contexts. While international scholarship is valuable, it cannot replace locally generated evidence. So African researchers need to have an insight into the continent's cultures, health systems, agricultural practices, and publish this knowledge. Once it does that, it ensures that it informs both local decision making and global scholarship. So it is essential for preserving indigenous knowledge, promoting cultural diversity, and ensuring that African perspectives contribute to international debates. So in short, publishing African research should not only be about visibility, it should be about ownership, relevance, and scientific scholarship. Now we have gone through Millennium Development Goals and it was not successful. Now we are in Sustainable Development Goals. Whether that will be a success too, I don't know, because it needs research. There is need for reliable evidence. And to get reliable evidence, researches need to be conducted. So for Africa to achieve Sustainable Development Goals, there should be researchers, African researchers need to conduct research on Africa's challenges with regards to the Sustainable Development Goals, whether it is health, education, energy, agriculture, or whatever it is. We need to conduct research in African context so that we can get solutions to that, and then the African should also align its the SDGs with national development agendas, and this will increase the relevance and impact of scholarly work. So research begins with identifying a problem, the challenge, and then through systematic inquiry, researchers generate new knowledge, and publication validates and disseminates these findings, making them available to scholars, practitioners, and policy makers and industry also. So from there, knowledge can inspire innovation, it can influence policy, and it can be adopted by communities for use. So the ultimate goal is not simply publication, but measurable improvements in people's lives. This framework challenges us to evaluate research not only by the number of papers produced, but also by the extent to which it contributes to sustainable development. So there should be a reward attached to something like this. The researcher should be rewarded, not just allow it to stop at publication and continue counting the number of publications. There are many challenges facing publishing in Africa. Next slide. The challenges are interconnected. The previous speaker has mentioned some of them. Or he has mentioned, he has, discussed one of them extensively, which is financing of publication. But there are more than that, in Africa, apart from the funding, the infrastructure, the quality of the projects, the infrastructure, including laboratories, libraries, digital resources, they all hamper research productivity. And also heavy teaching load. Heavy teaching loads is a very significant deterrent to publication because you are battling with your lecture hours, and also you know that you have to publish or you perish, and so on. And then also the cost of the publications, makes people go to reputable journals is very expensive. So some go to predatory journals and so on, which is not to be encouraged. And, while there are so many challenges, but still there is potential, the publishing in Africa is full of promise. On the next slide, because of the open data, open science, is increasing access to knowledge, and digital publishing platforms are expanding the reach of African scholarship. And then artificial intelligence also is there. And well, I know that there is no presentation that can be made now without, making reference to artificial intelligence. So research should not be viewed as a linear process ending with publication. This is my suggestion. Instead, should be considered as a continuous cycle of knowledge creation, as shown in the slide. Knowledge creation, dissemination through publication, then application either developing policy from it by the government or industry, innovation, and so on. And then once it is adopted, the community, also the people benefit from it, then it can be evaluated further, and the cycle goes goes on. So it can start all over again. So first of all, what is important is to, identify an African challenge, then stimulate inquiry. So the research that will be conducted will create a new knowledge, which, if validated, will, terminate in ethical publishing, which is what Dialogic is trying to do. And then it will become visible through their dissemination. That is, the knowledge will become visible and will become translated into policies, like I said, and technologies and innovations that will address societal needs. So then new questions will be generated and the cycle starts all over again. Therefore, with this framework, it emphasizes that publication should serve as the bridge, not the final destination. It should be able to connect discovery with impact and links academic excellence to national development. African universities need to evolve. Currently, teaching remains we know it remains very fundamental, but there's so much focus on teaching. However, we need to evolve such that universities becomes engines of innovation, entrepreneurship, and societal transformation. Thank God today we have many universities that are shifting their focus to research, the older universities. And I think this is the way to go. The newer universities can focus on teaching for undergraduate, but the older universities should focus more on research, such that they will generate solutions to our problems, and there will be collaboration across sectors, and so on. So the next slide, this is an old adage. Whoever is starting in academics, we always advise you must publish. You must publish or you perish. And while that is true, because up to today, the number of publications is counted. But I think it is time that we shift our focus to publish, to transform, so that, once you commence research, you know that you are not only counting your papers or citations for promotion or for recognition globally, but you are also trying to solve problems, Africa problems. You are trying to get policies, relevant policies that can, lead to national development and so on. So once you have that in mind, then you know that you have a task ahead of you. And this should be motivated by institutions, because previously I know that there was something that is called accelerator promotion. When you are a senior lecturer and you have produced so many papers that you can move directly from senior lecturer to professor without jumping the associate professor rank. But now maybe a few universities still do that, but I know that many have stopped that. So you have to go through the ranks completely. But then maybe this can be considered to motivate people, researchers, that if you can produce something that can solve problems or provide jobs to hundreds of people, or leads to a policy that is relevant, that can change whether it is education system, whatever it is. So once it is recognized, it should be rewarded, whether by accelerated promotion or by whatever means. But once people realize that this is being rewarded, people will start thinking, how do I also publish to transform, not just publish to perish? So that is very important. And the next slide also, we understand that, we have to go beyond journal articles. Journal articles are very, very important, but we should explore patterns, like I said, policies, technical reports, and so on, so that once these are achieved, we know that we are making progress towards national development. And this encourages researchers to think about how their work can influence policy, stimulate entrepreneurship, and improve community well-being. So artificial intelligence, like I said, it has to be mentioned because it is widely used now, but it has to be used responsibly, and ethically. And it should not replace critical thinking, originality, but it should augment. So there has to be, AI literacy, and there should also be clear guidelines to ensure responsible use. And the African landscape, you see that it is not possible. The next slide, that institutions succeed alone. There has to be partnerships, and these partnerships should be across all these bodies that you are displayed, because while researches come from universities, publications from publishers, and so on, then government is also an end user, and industry is an end user, and so on. So there has to be partnership between all these. None can do it alone. So there should be long-term relationships with all these agencies. And then it challenges us to imagine Africa, the next slide, where research is not peripheral but central to national development. I think this is very important for African researchers to consider. So while the vision will require sustained investment, leadership, and collaboration, it is actually within reach once there is this collaboration and so on. So next slide. I know I have exhausted my time. So each stakeholder has a distinct responsibility. And for sustainable transformation, this depends on coordinated action rather than isolated initiatives. So it is very important that the government realizes its own responsibility and does it. And honestly, what TED Fund is doing, and PTDF, NITDA, and there may be others, in Nigeria is very supportive of this coming from the government. And now I have seen that another agency has been established for research. For research. So I hope that it will also be useful. And then universities also need to do their part. TED Fund is uh, ensuring that in all universities there are research offices and they have guidelines and they are supporting the offices. From the last meeting we had there, I know that it is a very attractive thing that they are doing. And so once institutions can establish strong research offices, then there will be adequate mentorship and so on. And then the researchers also should understand that they are researching to transform, not to publish only. So it should be collaboration and so on. Then the next slide, traditional publication metrics remain very useful. I think it is very important and it is not sufficient now. So I'm praying that Dialogic will put this into perspective. There should be also universities should have develop a balanced scorecards that recognize research quality, societal impact, innovation, and so on. Like the previous speaker, you know, what is, I mean, he may not be working in Nigeria, but then if he should be, for example, then his institution should ask these questions and then find a way to reward him for the hard work. So this should be what should be done. And transformation, of course, will require the next slide, courageous leadership, and so that vice chancellors, policymakers, funding agencies, publishers, and researchers all have to play a role so that together we can build a knowledge powered Africa. When we come together and we strategize and we remain focused, then we'll be able to achieve that. So, leadership is not simply about managing institutions, it is about creating environments where ideas flourish, innovation thrives, and research changes lives. And I believe that is why um, researchers, our postgraduate students, when they go out to study, they imbibe this doctrine of what research is all about. And I always say that I don't know whether my thinking is correct. I'm not happy that TED Fund has stopped, sponsoring postgraduate studies abroad, because in my thinking, the changes that we have witnessed today in our institutions is a product of the training that the government has sent out the youth abroad to study and to imbibe new knowledge. When they come back, then they are able to input that new knowledge that they have imbibed and develop other students who do not have the chance, to go abroad. So you see a changing landscape in the research performance of our youth in our institutions today. And that is because of the knowledge that has been acquired from, outside, in other universities. So I wish, it can reconsider, even if by reducing the number of students it sends out and limiting it to maybe doctorate degrees. Because you can see that even developed countries like China and others, they still send their students to other countries, because that exchange of knowledge, of methodology is very, very important. So I hope that something will be done to, continue with the exercise again. And to conclude, the Africa we can build is an Africa where knowledge is valued, research is trusted, publishing is impactful, innovation is encouraged, and universities lead transformation and communities prosper. And also sustainable development becomes a reality. This is what we are hoping for sustainable development to become a reality. Our researchers need to conduct research based on indigenous challenges, to produce indigenous knowledge and to publish indigenous knowledge so that we can be visible, and also African solutions will be visible. So Africa has never lacked talent. When our our youth go out to work or to study, they all perform very well, and nations are proud of them, and our country is also proud of them. So it is important that this continues. Africa has never lacked resilience. So what we must strengthen are the systems that transform ideas into knowledge, knowledge into innovation, innovation into policy, and policy into lasting societal impact. And then academic publishing is one of the most important, powerful bridges in that journey. So I congratulate Dialogic for coming up with this, and I hope that it will be a very strong foundation. It will be a very strong bridge that can be crossed by our researchers, as most especially African researchers, to display African knowledge. So let us therefore publish, not merely to advance careers, but to advance our continent and build universities that are not only centers of learning, but engines of transformation. And let us ensure that knowledge we create today becomes the sustainable Africa we envision tomorrow. So thank you very much once again for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Fatima. Thank you. That's so useful. I think you said quite a lot, and I think one of the most important points you made is the fact that we shouldn't just aim to publish. We should rather focus on the impact, and publishing is just one aspect of that journey. And I'm sure that everyone on this call will have picked one or two things from your keynote speech. We want to thank you so much for all of those wonderful comments and for making the time to share your thoughts. I can see that we are running slightly behind schedule now, so I will call on the next keynote speaker, and that is Professor Stephen Nganga. That's from the University of Garissa, Kenya. Prof, can you just say hello, just so we can confirm you are audible?
Moderator.
Okay.
How are you?
Yeah. Very well, Prof. Yeah, I think I'll pass on the mic to you. So if you're happy, you may give your keynote speech.
You make me the presenter.
Say that again.
You make me the presenter.
Okay, yeah, happy to do that. Dr. Chukwuma, did you want to make Professor Nganga the presenter from the other account, please?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, and I'm ready to go.
I think, Prof, I think you can share the presentation yourself. So if you look at the top right, if you click share, you should be able to share your presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it visible on your side?
It's coming on. It's a bit, I think it's frozen at the moment, but
It should be available on your side.
I think it's still frozen. Let's see. I think it's a bit blurry for me. I'm not sure if that is unique to me or is to everyone. Did you want to stop and then reshare? Or if it will make it easier for you, we are happy to share it for you.
I'm already sharing from my side. I just want one person to confirm that you can see it on the other side.
Yeah,
you can continue without quality. You can
sorry?
continue.
Dr. Chukwuma, I didn't hear what you said.
You can share again and continue.
Yeah, I think what you can do, Prof, is to stop sharing and then try again, because as it stands now, the slide is blurry and we can barely read the content. So you probably want to stop and then share again.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is sharing from my side. I don't know whether it is coming.
Yeah, it is. It's actually sharing. I do suspect that it's an issue with connectivity, and as such, it still looks blurry. I would recommend that we share it for you if that will work. Dr. Chukwuma, I think we should share it from this end. So
I think so. Let me send it to Dr. Chukwuma's WhatsApp.
I think it's working now, Prof.
Yeah.
I think it's working, Prof. It's working now. Yeah. Yeah.
You can see it, huh?
Yes, yes, it's looking, all good. Thank you. Thanks everyone for your patience.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like to get started. And I will start by saying that I am Professor Irura Nganga, and I am an Associate Professor of Entrepreneurship. And I am also a Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Finance, Administration, and Planning at Garissa University. Garissa University is located in northern Kenya. And northern Kenya is an ASAL region. It is an arid and semi-arid region, and there are about 10 counties or administrative regions that are ASAL in Kenya, and they occupy 61% of the land mass in the whole of the country of Kenya. And in all that region, we have only one public university, which is Garissa University. Now, the population here are largely pastoralists, and they derive their livelihood from livestock farming. Now, due to the arid and semi-arid nature of the region, a plant called Prosopis jurisflora was introduced to try and manage the desertness of the region. Unfortunately, it became invasive, and it displaces pasture for the animals, and therefore it becomes our immediate threat in the region. Now, I met Dr. Chukwuma early in the year, around January, when there was a call for proposal by the United Kingdom Research Innovate Energy Catalyst. And the call required a consortium made of participants from African countries and the United Kingdom. A team comprising Dr. Chukwuma, Professor Orawe, Professor Charles Nzira, Dr. Michael Okedoye, Professor Otsura, Dr. Yusuf, and Engineer Wycliffe, and myself, Professor Irura Nganga, came together and worked with other partners within these institutions, other scholars, to develop a proposal that we called cogenerative biomass energy system for innovative prosopis into biofuel and biochar applications. We submitted that proposal. We did not win. But as scholars, we do not stop when things don't work our way. We regrouped later and submitted another proposal titled Prosopis One Sweep Circular Energy System Process to the Kenya National Treasury through the Ministry of Education in a project called ARISE, Adaptation and Resilience Investment Program, a financing window under the Climate Investment Fund, CIF, that supports investments in more than 70 developing countries across major regions. This includes Sub-Saharan Africa, Middle East and North Africa, Asia and the Pacific, Latin America and the Caribbean, Europe and Central Asia, Small Island Developing Estates, CIDs. We are still waiting for the feedback. And now this brings me to our next project, which was born in a similar circumstance, where a call requiring partnerships and collaborations across Africa and Europe was made, and the proposal succeeded. It was funded, and it connects us directly to our today's function that launches their Logic academic presses. This project, dubbed FOSTER, its main theme is fostering digital transformation of science in Kenya and Tanzania. And the FOSTER project responds to persistent barriers to open science. The focus is to strengthen open science systems in Kenya and Tanzania through cooperation among African and European countries, higher education and research institutions. The project supports digital transformation by modernizing research governance, scholarly communication, and knowledge exchange. What problem were we looking at? The consortium looks at the universities that face an even understanding of open science. We have differentiated ways in which we look at open science in Africa. We face limited infrastructure, inadequate research data management capacity, fragmented policy framework, weak incentives for open research, and insufficient participation by communities and civil society. That is the problem that we have in the open science research ecosystem.
Prof, Prof,
I want to address the Brady picture.
Yes, Prof, I think because we are struggling to follow this very interesting presentation because we can barely read the slides. I think it's fine for you to talk, just give a talk without presenting, but in the process, if you can send us the slides, we are happy to share it from this end, because as it stands now, we can't see the slides, and I do think it looks more or less like an internet challenge. So if you send it to us, we can share it if that's okay, except there's you feel it's not.
Just give me a minute to see whether I can change the presentation and see whether it will make any difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prof.
Please check
Prof,
whether you can see the screen.
Prof. Chukwuma speaking.
Yes.
Would you like to send it to my university email so that I can share it for you?
I can do that.
But
first of all, confirm whether you can see the screen now.
It's blurred.
It's blocked.
It's
blurry.
Okay, it's blurred. Let me send it to your email.
Okay, so you can stop sharing now.
Yeah, stop sharing.
No,
and then
right.
Okay. I've shared by email. Please check whether you can see it.
Okay, I will refresh my
you.
email now.
Send it.
Okay, I've received it now. Is it visible now?
Yes, it's visible to me.
Okay. Is it okay, Dr. Atieme?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay.
But
Prof, I
it
think
is better.
you were here, Prof.
Go to the other, the one that you have just skipped.
Okay, this
Yeah,
one.
that's where we were.
Okay, continue.
And we were just trying to emphasize that there was a problem, and that as a consortium, we teamed up to address that problem, and that the response that Foster seeks to promote an integrated system in which publications and data are responsibly shared, research is transparent and reproducible, infrastructure follows fair principles, and research institutions and communities participate meaningfully in creating and using knowledge. And I believe, colleagues, that this is the focus of their logic, and that's why we are meeting today. The next slide. Professor Fatima, in her presentation, she has really emphasized on collaboration. And this project exemplifies that kind of partnership across Africa and Europe. And it has universities such as Daystar University, University of Dar es Salaam, University of Zaragoza in Spain, Garissa University in Kenya, ESAMI in Tanzania, VG University in Amsterdam, St. Paul's University of Kenya, ISSBS of Slovenia, and EPIDRI of Slovenia. This is a very strong collaborative team that is going to serve as an example of what we need to do in collaboration and in producing community-engaged solutions to a problem. Next slide. Now, Foster seeks to institutionalize open science in Kenya and Tanzania. And the general objective is to support the digital economy and the connectivity of Kenya and Tanzania by advancing the adoption and sustainable implementation of open science principles, values, practices within the higher education systems. The project pursues these objectives by strengthening institutional capacity, developing appropriate research infrastructure, reforming university policies, building the competences of researchers and professional staff, improving public access to research, and creating stronger mechanisms for communities and other stakeholders to participate in open science and research. Next slide, please. Now, the 5 specific objectives are to build an open science culture. And this will be done by fostering, by the Foster Project promoting national and university level consensus through forums, institutional dialogue, evidence-based recommendations, and media engagement. It's also going to enable sustainable university transition And the project will equip postgraduate students, researchers, lecturers, and professional staff with practical competencies for open and responsible research. Advanced interoperable infrastructure. The participating universities will strengthen the digital environment required to manage, preserve, publish, discover, and reuse research outputs responsibly. It's also going to enhance policy and regulation. And the project supports policies for open access, research data, ethical sharing, intellectual property, infrastructure governance, and recognition and reward systems. Finally, foster citizen science. Open science hubs and science shops will be created in a structured space through which universities and communities co-produce knowledge for societal development. Next slide, please. The methodology being used here is 5 interconnected work packages that will deliver this foster vision. In work package 1, this one will deal with the management and quality that is envisioned by the project. Work package 2 will build consensus and gather evidence to support policy decisions. Work package 3 will foster the transformation that we are looking into: infrastructure plans, training programs, and formal and informal open science curricula. Work package 4 will work on policy that enables open science adoption. And this will lead to approved milestones, responsibilities, incentives, and governance arrangements that strengthen the change. And finally, there will be work package 5 that deals with impact and engagement, dissemination, continued use of results, open science hubs, and open science shops. Now, evidence informs capacity building. Capacity building supports infrastructure and curriculum reforms. Policy makes the reforms institutional, and dissemination, public participation, and sustainability mechanisms extend their impacts. Next slide, please. Now, the work packages produce practical systems, skills, and reforms. Work package 1 coordinates reporting, internal evaluation, quality assurance, risk monitoring, so as to the implementation remains consistent and acceptable. Work package 2 undertakes country profiling, advanced needs analysis, skills gap assessment, citizen science review, and open science forums. This is critical because the project is seeking to address problems that are actually being experienced on open science in both Kenya and Tanzania. Then work package 3 strengthens repositories, research data services, and the digital platform while developing postgraduate and lifelong learning curricula. In work package 4, we develop institutional policy tools covering governance, access, data plans, legal frameworks, assessment, recognition, and compliance. And in work package 5, this implements dissemination campaigns, media engagement, stakeholder workshops, open science hubs, and science shop 2 services. The next slide. The current achievements, where are we at the moment? We have conducted advanced need analysis, and we have identified the gaps and created an awareness. skills, infrastructure, governance, and stakeholder engagement. We are now working on the requirements that cover repositories, data stewardships, interoperability, accessibility, and the long-term maintenance. We are also working on the Kenya and Tanzania country profiles, but we have the necessary data to build it up. We are also developing the formal and informal OS curriculum, and we are also working on the policy. We have already completed the templates. Each institution is working on the OS policies that looks at the fair data, legal compliance, governance, quality assurance, and incentives. And the sustainability path. These are the infrastructure that we need to put in place to ensure continuity. That is science shop 2, dissemination, exploitation, and sustainability plans that support continued public value. Continue. Now, the next step or the next phase is institutional adoption, followed by implementation and piloting, and concluded by sustainability and scale. And basically, each one of these steps will seek to adopt common policies. We shall try to have planned infrastructures and set up open science hubs and the science shops across the institutions that are participating in Africa. The measure of success, just a minute. The measure of success will be whether open science becomes part of our normal university operations. And this is very critical because this is a 3-year project that once it concludes, we should be left practicing the open science as a normal part of our university operations. The next slide. Now, this is what connects to why we are here. We are here to launch. Today's launch turns open science into a publishing practice. This is where we are, and this is how we are connected. The public launch of the Dialogic Academic Press provides a timely opportunity to connect the institutional ambitions of the Foster project with the practical realities of academic publishing in Africa. And I am proud to have been associated with the keynote speakers, Dr. Chukwuma and Professor Fatima, because you have highlighted the issues that we need to address if we are going to go into responsible publishing. Now, open science achieves its purpose only when researchers have credible, accessible, and sustainable channels through which findings can be reviewed, published, discovered, and reused. And it is our sincere hope that DAPresses is going to meet that requirement. Number 2, this launch, therefore, represents more than the establishment of a new publishing organization. It contributes to the wider efforts to strengthen African scholarly communication infrastructure, expand the visibility of African research, and reduce the financial, institutional, and socio-technical barriers that prevent many African scholars from participating fully in global knowledge production. Both Dr. Chukwuma and Professor Fatima has clearly shown the challenges that we are facing in Africa in matters knowledge production and making that knowledge accessible across the globe. The next slide. The next slide. Now, academic publishing is essential infrastructure for Africa's development. In short, I'm saying Dialogic Presses is an indispensable item. It's an infrastructure that we needed as early as yesterday. It supports knowledge production. Academic publishing converts evidence into a durable and verifiable body of knowledge through rigorous editorial assessment and peer review. Findings can be tested, improved, preserved, and made available for further investigation. African feasibility. African researchers produce valuable knowledge about the continent's societal, economies, technologies, cultures, and environment, yet much of this work remains difficult to discover or enter systems that do not always prioritize African questions and perspectives. I can tell you, colleagues, that my own experience, only about 50% of my publications are accessible globally. Why? Because when I did those publications, those DOIs did not exist. And so they were published in forums that ends up in a shelf, and that's the end of it. Now, it must lead to developmental impact. Strong African publishing platforms provide credible space for locally grounded scholarship, encourage collaboration, and connect evidence with policymakers, practitioners, innovators, communities, and the wider public. And this has been aptly said by both Dr. Chukwuma and Professor Fatima. Academic publishing must therefore be understood as infrastructure for education, innovation, representation, and sustainable development. Foster and Dialogic academic presses share 4 commitments. Number 1, access. Both initiatives seek to reduce the barriers that prevent researchers, students, and members of the public from accessing scholarly knowledge. 2, quality. Open access must be supported by rigorously peer-reviewed, qualified editorial leadership, research integrity, and transparent publications. 3, visibility. Metadata, indexing, persistent identifiers, preservation, and interoperable platforms are necessary if Africa research is to be discovered and cited. While other development partners can help us carry out research, Dialogic presses, this specifically falls under your arms to ensure that whatever we publish meets all the credible requirements for feasibility. And finally, public value. Research fulfills its wider purpose when it informs teaching, improves policy, supports innovation, and enables communities to make informed decisions. When we succeed in gathering information about problems afflicting a community, and we analyze data and publish recommendations, then we make the general public able to make decisions and come up with interventions that address the problems that afflict them. Foster strengthens the institutional environment for open science, while the new journals provide practical channels through which credible knowledge can be openly communicated. And for that, we laud and welcome the Dialogic presses. Next. A trusted African publishing ecosystem requires quality and sustainability. Research, ethical, and relevant inquiry. We look for issues that are relevant to our societies, and we carry out research in an ethical way. Then peer review, fair and expert assessment. Fair. It has to be fair. Publications transparent editorial decisions, discovery, metadata, identifiers, and indexing, societal use, teaching, policy, and innovation that leads to commercialization. Success should be measured not only by article numbers, but also by the quality, integrity, accessibility, and practical influences of published work. Sustainable publishing requires transparent governance, competent reviewers, responsible authorship, effective digital infrastructure, and financial arrangements that do not unfairly exclude scholars with limited resources. Priorities for credibility. The journals should pursue reputable indexing, persistent identifiers, and reliable preservation. Publish clear licensing and fee policies, and guide against plagiarism, fabricated research, and undisclosed conflicts of interest that are threats to scholarly trust. Universities, funders, libraries, professional associations, and scholars can sustain the journals through submission, peer review, editorial service, mentorship, and institutional collaboration. Again, partnerships. With those remarks, I believe Dialogic Presses will live to those expectations, and that on this birthday of Dialogic Presses, we hope and wish the Dialogic Presses all the best, and we hope to be party and partners, as was discussed by Chukwuma, either as members of editorial board or submitting of our publications and our colleagues and working together so that we can help Africa rediscover itself and be seen in those statistics that was aptly presented by Dr. Chukwuma. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Prof. That's a very insightful presentation, and at the same time, I think it's also very challenging as well. I think you have shared quite a lot, and I think the editorial board of Dialogic, and of course, all persons with interests in Dialogic will think about this as we progress with Dialogic Academic Presses. I think those are very, very important comments, very, very useful, and of course, we'll continue to live up to those expectations as we become a household publishing name in Africa and beyond. I think the next presentation is by another academic, and this time is by Professor Akindele Michael Okedoye, who is a professor at Federal University of Petroleum Resources in Nigeria. Prof. Akin, I would like to pass on the mic to you.
Thank you very much, moderator. And I'm saying good afternoon to everybody from Nigeria, Delta State. I hope we are doing fine. Can you hear me from that end?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Yes, I will be a bit biased because I like to promote what I am known for, which is mathematics. And so when Dr. Ogbonnaya contacted me to be a keynote speaker, I was thinking he was going to give me a topic to talk on, but he gave me the free will to choose any topic of my choice. And so I have chosen the title, Mathematics as the Universal Language of Discovery, Advancing Global Scholarship through Dialogic STEM Journal. And so I'm going to be talking on that. First and foremost, I want to stand on the existing protocol so that I don't waste the little time that we have. So the chief launcher, Chief Professor Fatima, Dr. Chukwuma, and esteemed colleague, Professor Stephen Irura Nganga, and all other distinguished scholars. I say well done to you. Next slide, please. Yes, it's both an honor and a privilege to participate in this official launch of Dialogic Academic Press and flagship of a Dialogic STEM journal. I want to congratulate the visionaries behind this initiative and the initiative for establishing what promises to become an important platform for high-quality scholarly communication. Today is not merely the launch of another academic journal. It is the launch of an intellectual movement that seeks to demonstrate knowledge, encourage interdisciplinary dialogue, and amplify research from every region of the world. Of course, for those of us in Africa and in Nigeria in particular, this is not going to be the first journal to be launched, but I try to check my archive. I have not seen or heard of a journal that is being launched in this manner. So once again, congratulations to the visionaries. So to proceed, what is the place of mathematics in modern science? As an applied mathematician, I've spent my career studying complex systems from fluid dynamics, epidemiology, to environmental modeling and computational science. One lesson has remained constant. And what is that lesson? Every scientific discipline ultimately speaks the language of mathematics. Whether we are studying climate change, artificial intelligence, biomedical engineering, petroleum engineering, quantum computing, economics, public health, mathematics provide the framework through which observations become theories, and theory becomes model, and model become innovations. Next slide, please. Yeah, one of the foremost scientists, Galileo Galilei, he presented a perspective, and he once observed the universe is written in the language of mathematics. As at that time, many of his peers did not well understood what he was trying to say. Until nearly 4 centuries later, the statement remained profoundly true. Without mathematics, there is not going to be predictive science. Without mathematics, there may not be computational intelligence, no engineering optimization, no reliable artificial intelligence, and there will not be quantitative decision making. Therefore, mathematics transform data into knowledge. Mathematics transform data into knowledge, and then knowledge into social impact. Now, the question is this: why do we need a new STEM journal? Why does it matter? Someone may ask, why establishing another journal when thousands already exist? Of course, the answer is straightforward. The challenge facing contemporary science is not simply production of knowledge, not at all, but it is the equitable dissemination of knowledge. Many excellent studies from Africa and other developing nations like ours remain infeasible because of publication barrier, limited accessibility, high publication cost, and unequal editorial representation. The last presenter mentioned that almost half of his publications were not visible to the world because as at the time of publication, the DOI and not the rest have not existed. However, now we are in a digital era. Even though a journal has been published long ago, we have some platform where we can upload all those things, although it might be in picture form. Those of us who are still relevant in academic today will have this opportunity of having Dialogic STEM journal, which has provided us the opportunity to change that narrative. Dialogic System Journal will have this opportunity because it can become a bridge between continents. It can become a meeting point for disciplines, a home for innovative scholarship, and a voice for emerging researchers. Excellence should never be determined by geography. Scientific merit should know no borders. You are all aware, the first speaker, the last speaker, they have iterated the importance of having an equitable distribution of knowledge. If you want to publish in some known global journal today, you know how many thousands of dollars you pay. Take, for instance, to publish a single journal, you are required to pay as much as $2,005. If in Naira, that is in millions. And you can bear with me that no academic will want to do that. And that has been forcing people to go into predative journal, paper mill, and not the rest. And so Dialogic Press is coming at a time that African scholars and academics are in their need of a platform to disseminate knowledge. The emerging era of interdisciplinary science has called for the greatest scientific breakthroughs of this country, which will not emerge from isolated discipline. Future discovery will occur at intersections. We can just consider a few examples on this. Take, for instance, artificial intelligence. It requires mathematics, computer science, neuroscience, statistics, and ethics. While climate modeling will combine mathematics, atmospheric science, engineering, remote sensing, and environmental science. We can now see the kind of interdisciplinary phenomenon that we are talking about. And therefore, this buttresses the point that no discipline can exist in isolation. The modern medicine also depends upon mathematical modeling, computational biology, machine learning, bioinformatics, and data science. Therefore, Dialogic STEM Journal is appropriately positioned as an interdisciplinary platform where ideas can interact and mature. Next slide, please. One thing that we must take note, as a member of an editorial board, a contributor, and a scholar, we must understand that quality must remain the foundation. Dialogic Press must ensure that quality remains the foundation. As we celebrate this launch, we must also speak honestly. Academic publishing faces significant challenges. Part of those challenges include predatory publishing, superficial peer review, plagiarism, citation manipulations, paper mills, as well as increasing misuse of artificial intelligence. We understand that artificial intelligence has come to stay, but how do we manage it? Nowadays, people don't need to go to library again. People don't even want to study again. All they need to do is to just give a prompt to AI, and AI will generate information. Funny enough, AI will put a comment that this information could be wrong. Fact check for you to confirm. But how many of us are doing that? So the onus is going to be on the editorial board and reviewer to find a means of fact checking whatever is being submitted, so that we will not be publishing junks. Therefore, the credibility is on us to uphold. Quality that we are talking about is built through one, rigorous peer review, editorial independence. I must not say because this author is from my university, and so let me find a way of patching him up. Even when I know he has written jargons, I will say it's okay. publishable. No, there must be editorial independence to uphold research integrity, transparency, reproducibility, and ethical publishing practices. If the Dialogic STEM journal consistently uphold this principle, I'm sure its reputation will grow naturally. Impact factor will come later. Credibility must come first. Not that we'll have to put impact factor first and be looking for credibility. Credibility first, impact factor will come later. Now, the artificial intelligence and future research. Of course, we are living through one of the greatest technological revolutions in human history, the emergence of artificial intelligence. It's changing research, it's changing education, it's changing publishing, it's changing healthcare, it's changing engineering and industry. As Professor Fatima said, AI should not be viewed as a replacement for scientific thinking. Rather, it should be regarded as an accelerator of scientific discovery. Researchers who learn to integrate AI responsibly with human creativity, mathematical reasoning, and critical thinking will definitely define the next generation of scientific leadership. Next slide. Therefore, we are evolving with AI. Our academic journals must also evolve by embracing open science, which is one of the core mandates of Dialogic Press. Data sharing, reproducibility of research, computational transparency, and responsible AI-assisted scholarship. All those things are part of what you will have to evolve with. And so, we also, either as an editor, reviewer, and all the rest, we must support early career researcher. This may throw me back to when I was an assistant lecturer. To publish that time, unless you link through your supervisor, who have been a mentor, a guardian, all through until I was independent. Therefore, every distinguished professor was once an uncertain young researcher. So our responsibility now extends beyond own publishing papers. We must mentor, we must encourage, and we must create opportunities. Next slide. So how do we support early career researchers? As a publisher, Dialogic Academic Press can become an important platform for nurturing young scholars through constructive peer review, editorial mentorship, research workshop, like the one we are doing now. I'm sure that a lot of people are there. Those who are not here will discover that they have missed. And then we can provide methodological guidance and international collaboration. The future of science depends upon the researcher that we inspire. For if nobody inspires us, we will not be here. Now that we are here, we need to inspire others so that the continuity will be guaranteed. African vision and global relevance. Although this initiative, to my understanding, has a very strong academic root, but its vision must remain global. Africa possesses extraordinary intellectual capital. What is often lacking is visibility. By maintaining international editorial standard while remaining inclusive, Dialogic STEM journal can become a respected global publication rather than simply another regional journal. Scientific excellence is universal. Innovation belongs to humanity. Knowledge has no nationality. While I'm rounding up, I want to put a call to action to us. I want to encourage, next slide. I therefore encourage researchers across the world to support this initiative. Submit your best work, not your leftover work. Serve as reviewer with integrity. Cite responsibly. Collaborate internationally. Mentor younger scholars. Protect the ethics of scientific publishing. And together, we can build a journal that future generations will regard as a trusted source of scientific knowledge. In conclusion, allow me to remind us that journals do more than publishing articles. It is not only publishing of articles that the journal that we are talking about has to do with. I heard one of the earlier presenter mentioning similar thing. Why we think we publish, the journal itself preserves idea. They connect researchers. They influence policy. They inspire innovation, and they shape civilization. Therefore, the success of Dialogic Academic Press will not be measured merely by the number of volume of publishes. It will be measured by the quality of ideas that it nurtures, the collaborations it creates, the societal impact of the knowledge it disseminates. I congratulate the founder, the editorial team, and every individual who has contributed to making this vision a reality. May Dialogic STEM Journal become a beacon of academic excellence, integrity, innovation, and global collaboration. Thank you for your kind attention. God bless Dialogic Academic Press. God bless the global scientific community. Thank you all.
Thank you, Professor Akindele. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think that's such a very rich keynote speech. You've highlighted quite a lot of things, and of course, I believe these are thoughts that is going to be long lasting in our memory, and of course, it's something that we'll always have in our mind as we continue to develop Dialogic. I also use this opportunity to also highlight the fact that Professor Akindele has been a very supportive partner to Dialogic Academic Presses, and I think he's done so much in helping us when we've been trying to develop the platform, been contributing to reviews, coming up with suggestions. We'll also use this public opportunity, like this public fora, to highlight that fact. Thank you so much, Prof. I'm sure everyone here appreciates your insights. Apologies that we've run slightly over time. Of course, we had some technical glitches as well earlier on, so that has taken some of our time. But we will be rounding up shortly, and for the next item on the agenda is the public presentation of the book. But before we move on to the public launch by Professor Fatima, I would like to welcome 2 or 3 comments. I will give the public that would like to speak 1 or 2 minutes to share any comments before we move on to the public launch. If you would like to speak, you may kindly indicate by raising your hand, and of course I can then give you the floor. Okay, in the absence of any comments at this point, I think I will, okay, I think we've got a hand. Dr. Timothy Ashezua, did you, yeah, you have the mic, so feel free to make any comment.
Okay, good day, everyone. I want to appreciate the organizers of this program. it's quite enriching, insightful, and educating. What I would just want to say at this point is to encourage all of us to ensure that the Dialogic Academic Press should see how in no distance time the journal will be indexed, maybe in Scopus, Schimago, and all other very important publishing houses. So it's to thank once again the speakers and all of us for this insightful and innovative idea. I want to thank my very good friend, Professor Okedoye, for the wonderful, talk, and all other speakers. I think it is quite commendable. As the Secretary of the Nigerian Mathematical Society, I'm going to encourage our members to see how this publishing house could be, patronized. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ashezua. Thanks for those comments. Of course, we'll continue to have those in mind, and of course, the credibility of the journals is at the forefront of any of the decisions that the board of the chief editor and of course every other member of the Dialogic Academic Presses makes. I think we've got another hand, Dr. Idehe. Yeah, you have the floor.
Hi, everyone. Just wanted to add to what the last contributor said, to commend Dialogic as a whole, as a company, and the individuals there, especially Dr. Chukwuma. I am the president of STEM Green and Foundation, and we have been working together to achieve same aim. And this is actually a brilliant initiative to give researchers that are in diaspora and also in Africa a platform. So I just want to say a platform to publish. And I just want to say thank you so much, Dialogic Press, for this great opportunity that you have created. And it's not just for people in Africa, as we know, it's international. Anyone can actually publish from this journal. And as the last contributor said, that in future, we hope that it blossoms and become one of the journals that is the talk of the town that everyone wants to publish from because of its credibility. So thank you to all keynote speakers as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pepeshua. And I will pass on finally to Engineer Patrick Obidoyin.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Atieme, for the opportunity. Just to add to what the two previous speakers have said, I want to congratulate Dialogic, as well as Dr. Chukwuma Ogbonnaya, who is a very active member of our Nigeria Society of Engineers Manchester branch. He's been doing very well in the branch, and it's also good to see what he's doing with Dialogic. Yeah, I joined to support him. That was my main reason for joining, but I found it really quite educating. And the initial presentation he had with regards to linking research to global development, I think was very insightful for me, because I'm a practical engineer. I'm not an academic. But as Professor Fatima has said, we want to see those research, those publications trickling into impact and into commercialization, so that we could have a country that is sustainable. We have a lot of challenges in Nigeria, and we're not short on innovators. I happen to be on the panel for one of the judges for the Next Gen Innovation Challenge, organized by NBTI, and I could see the quality of innovation coming through. I'm sure if we could get a lot of these researches widely published, there could be quite a lot of impact and innovation coming through to commercialization through that. So that's what my interest would be, to see Dialogic grow as a publishing press, and also to be able to take those research into commercialization for the growth of our country, Nigeria. And hopefully at some point we'll be able to see ourselves in those top ranking, which Dr. Chukwuma showed earlier. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Engineer Obidoye. Thank you so much for those comments, everyone. I think at this point we will now welcome Professor Fatima of Azman University to give or to formally launch Dialogic Academic Presses. Prof, please.
Thank you so much. Once again, I am very happy and grateful to be given this opportunity of launching DAPresses, Dialogic Academic Presses. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to be part of this history. And I must congratulate the founders, and because it is well thought of you to put this together, and I hope that it becomes a prominent publishing name in Africa and globally. I pray that the two journals become recognized globally within a short time, while maintaining quality and also the objectives that you set out to address, which is inequity, financial and socio-technical barriers facing African scholars, researchers, academics, and students in knowledge creation, curation, and consumption. So I urge and call on all researchers, scholars, academics to please patronize these promising journals, the Dialogic STEM Journal and the Dialogic Society Journal. And on this note, I invite you to all join me to launch the two journals in the name of God, and wish you all success. And we hope that it will be a prominent name within a short while. Very soon, we'll be hearing of Dialogic, as it competes with other, international journals. So congratulations, and I hope it will be a bridge between continents and a meeting for disciplines, as one of the speakers from Kenya mentioned. I like that quote that he had, very important. So I hope that Dialogic will live to that, and long live Dialogic Academic Presses, and I wish you all luck, and may you continue to provide solutions to Africa's problems, because I see that this is not the only thing you are doing, but you have other things you are also doing. So I wish you all the best. Congratulations once again. And researchers, please, you have a journal you can all come to. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel so elated, and congratulations to everyone, and congratulations to everyone that has supported the formal launch of Dialogic Academic Presses. We would like to also specially thank Dr. Chukwuma Ogbonnaya. Ogbonnaya has been a key part of Dialogic Academic Solutions, and he has championed this. The actual launch of the Dialogic Academic Presses, and of course he's the chief editor of the DAPresses STEM Journal, and he continues to manage other aspects of Dialogic Academic Solutions. And of course we are all very pleased with how Dr. Chukwuma has managed this process up to this point. I would like to thank everyone for your patience, for taking over 2 hours of your time to spend with us. That's really a lot of, it shows a lot of commitment to what we are doing, and we are really, really grateful that you've left every other thing that you can do with your time to be here with us since 11 a.m. So that's really, really remarkable, and we would like to thank everyone. But there's a request I would like to make, because it's been a very, very insightful keynote speeches from Professor Fatima, from Professor Nganga, from Professor Akindele as well, and we've got a few requests to see if your slides could be shared with people that are interested. I just wanted to ask if that is something that you'll be pleased for us to pass on your slides to people that would like to look at it much later. Of course, this is already recorded, so it will be available on our YouTube, and of course, we'll also provide a link on our website as well. But I wanted to ask the keynote speakers if you're happy for us to pass on the slides to relevant people for their own personal use.
It's okay for me.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
No problem from my end.
Okay, thanks. Okay, yeah, and I think with that, we have come to the end of the public launch of Dialogic Academic Presses. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure that everyone here would have picked one or two things, and we'll continue to crave your support as we continue to develop this platform. Thank you so much. And on this note, I'm happy to bring this to a close. Thank you.
Thank you very much.